Writing to Testify. Here, I'll show you. Writing to Testify by Terry Bale. That's me. I have from page 7 to page 13 pages to read to you. I don't know if I'll get through them all. It might start raining. I heard a woodpecker a little bit ago, and there's a place where they take big dump trucks and pile up gravel and sand, and so you might hear boom, 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 boom. Uh, should I start this over? But no, I'm needing to get this done. This may be the last thing I ever record, or one of the last, but I need to get it read to you. And I wonder, I didn't bring a tripod along to rest, so rest my arm what I can. I like the bird sounds, and the all around is green, but not very sunshiny. If I keep going, what happens then? I don't know. That's there's that. So I found a path in the woods, and I'll try this. This is Writing to Testify, and this is the second paper, second section. I write things, but no one's told me how, or it's just worked at it as the Lord helped. This looks funny. I'll just put some of it over. There, that looks better. I'm getting real at the end of doing all this. I've got about 100 videos. Some of them are only less than 3 minutes long. There's about 5 of them that's an hour. One's about an hour and a half. Might be 6 or 7. But most of them are somewhere between 5 minutes and 20 minutes or 12. And there's mosquitoes. There's one on my hand, and I don't think it'll go away, but I gotta get this done. So I'm gonna do it. Maybe I stop it and start it again, because it's more important than I am. By far, it's the ideas. But the Lord started me to writing it. And then as I asked, but Lord, what about this? What about that? He'd help me to understand something and get something written. It's not that everything is here, but it may explain some things that need explaining to people. So I'm going to leave this. It's 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes of talk and the woods, and I itch. I'm human, and I make mistakes. But go to God. He knows how to advise you and what the answers are to your questions. So ask God, what do I do now? Or what does this mean? Ask Him. But wait patiently for His answers. He's steady, but He's sure. And it's worth it to follow Him. Look at that, my collar's. Hey, that looks better. Okay, now. This is Recognizing a Threat. Part of Writing to Testify by Terry Bale. That's me. Okay. This is number 15. It appears that somebody wants to control the world, and that they've found a way to do it through computer technology and mass media. We have seen the application of the 666 to our economy. It's kind of hidden in the barcodes, you know. Every barcode has 6 and 6 and 6. You probably know about that. That's a big part of our economy. Mass production, debt, and utilities have virtually enslaved us to that economy. We have heard of a mark for the right hand or the forehead. But these things by themselves could never bring about total control. To effect total control, they must capture the people's minds and hearts as well. That's where TV and the rest of the media come in, furnishing images that, even now, seduce, pollute, and betray us. Number 16. Mass media is the information machine for propaganda and programming. The systems we have known as mass media have grown together into a uniformly controlled mass indoctrination network. It's an easy job to control people through the media, for people are easily controlled if you have no qualms about deceiving them. Over the decades, we have grown accustomed to their deceiving ways. It's all a part of the game, we say, and we think that we are not taken in. The deceptions that we perceive on the media are annoying and sometimes upsetting, but they are rare. The deceptions that they are feeding us, however, are subtle, palatable, and continuous. When billions of dollars are at stake, deception is no game, it is a science. Number 17. The following trends and themes in mass media are designed to maximize acceptance and minimize resistance to the takeover by the 666 code control system. They serve in part to program and to pacify, and in part to dissolve and break up individual and family integrity, destroying grounds for resistance. Main trends and classic themes. Then I hear something. I think it's an animal over there. Main trends and classic themes. I look again to make sure it's not a person. Fear is one of the main trends and classic themes. Fear, be it highly dramatized shock situations or subtle and gripping suspense and terror, fear is being dished out as though it were merely a novel emotion, when in fact it is a debilitating infection of the mind. Next, low tolerance. That's boring. I can't stand it. Yelling, screaming, hating, panic. Though often found in comedy shows, there is nothing here to laugh at. Endurance and self-control have no substitutes. Patience is a virtue, and in times of trouble, a real necessity. The next one is ultra fiction and ultra fantasy, plus reality chopped up and reality too fast. These present extremely distorted artificial situations where faith, hope, and reason must be abandoned while we try to follow their storyline and keep up with the pace they set. In effect, they have us doing mental exercises in overriding reason in favor of following their leading, and in closing our hearts and becoming insensible to the presence and help of God. In real situations, something happens and you can always say, Lord, what should I think of this? Or what to do? Whereas when they make up things in their movies and videos, it can come on you so fast that you are trying to figure out what's happening, and you don't ever, because it's not a reality, so you don't go to real God and ask, what do I do? What do I think? Hopefully maybe some people will eventually say, Lord, what was that all about? What are they trying to do? But at the time you're trying to, it's a ploy. It's a power scheme. Careful. Okay, next one. Illusions of perfection. TV homes are immaculate. Why? Because nobody lives there. TV stars look so nice because they are walking mannequins for fashion and makeup experts. The legendary Joneses have been replaced by TV characters whose homes and clothes and relationships cars, and lives, and adventures cause us to be forever dissatisfied with our own. We are envious of a people who don't even exist, and we enslave ourselves, attempting to get what they only appear to have. Next one, educational and informational programs. The twin towers of virtue. These are towers of defense that we fly to whenever someone speaks too negatively of TV. Yet these towers of defense are occupied by the enemy. Whether you have noticed it or not, generally speaking, it's their education and their information that they are giving you. Okay, now I have to turn the page. And the next of the list of, what did I call them? Of the list, where is it? Here it is. Main trends and classic themes. Guys, I'm getting old, and I never was an actress or I'm just doing this the best I can. Okay, so I wrote this, I finished writing it in 1999, and mine was the writing of it. It wasn't up to me to produce it, to, what's that word? When someone makes books. Publish. To publish it. I would if I could. I don't know how. I haven't got the money to. I think it costs something. Here and there, when I've taken a bit of a look, it costs something, and the Lord hasn't insisted or encouraged or enabled. But this He has enabled, so I'm doing it. Okay. The next of the main trends and classic themes. Animal, human, machine mixtures. Mute, here, I'll turn a little bit so the sun shines right over there. Maybe it'll help. Animal, human, machine mixtures. Mutants, space beings, animals, and objects portrayed with human characteristics. No individual person is associated with the attitudes and actions of these creatures. Therefore, no single person feels or is held responsible for them. Their messages can be as palatable as humanism or as ghastly as brutal murder. All those responsible for drawing the pictures or putting together the plots, the storylines, all those responsible for making these things just shrug and say, but it's not real. Everybody knows that. Besides, what can I do? If I quit, they'll just replace me. End quote. So the creatures, quote unquote, roll on, appropriate ambassadors for such as is called the beast. Because in the Bible it speaks of a beast. And these things make you think of that. The next one is rewriting history. With new insights and perspectives, they are confounding our sense of loyalties and destroying our faith in real heroes and things we've trusted in. To fill the gap, they present us with fictional heroes who only succeed by unrealistic means, implying that real people in real situations have no chance whatsoever. The next one. One world plus the power within you supposedly equals a unified global effort can save the world. We need God. The next one, natural and artificial beauty, to keep you entertained and pacified, to keep you watching. The next one, the happy ending, the myth of all's well that ends well. A 10-minute happy resolution does not justify 40 minutes of modeling unhealthy attitudes and behavior. And they do that all the time and make it seem like, well, see, we show at the end there that the person realized this is wrong and changed their ways. Well, I'm going to say it again. A 10-minute happy resolution does not justify 40 minutes of modeling unhealthy attitudes and behavior. The next one, breaking moral barriers. In our minds, many things are impossible until perceived otherwise. Seeing is believing. That's a quote. Mass media exposes us to horrors beyond normal imagination, silently destroying our natural resistance to unhealthy behavior. TV breaks moral barriers and paves roads beyond them. The next one, overwhelming volume. Bigger, faster, more wonderful, more powerful, uncontrollable, inexhaustible, and incomprehensible, ... And it doesn't stop, even if you turn it off. That ends the list of main trends and classic themes. And it's continued, even though I did finish writing it in 1999. Number 18. Someone might say, but everybody knows it's not real. This is a common justification for either making or watching poor programming. But even though it's not real, it's really affecting you and your children. Our minds don't just store what we see after we have edited and approved it. Our minds store everything. And they store it on the assumption that it is real, because the mind has no category for the unreal. The mind works on the principle, if it is perceivable, it exists. The problem is, when it comes to TV, our minds do not make a distinction between degrees of reality, so that things that exist only on film, like cartoons, are registered in our minds as faithfully as the President of the United States. And they get more airtime, the cartoons, and the unreal things. And even when we do take the time to critique what we are watching, our comments fall to the foot of the page, so to speak, as footnotes, because thoughts are not stored in the same manner as images. But when it comes to what we see on TV, nothing is relegated to a footnote, and nothing ever lands on the cutting room floor. The images are preserved with their messages intact. Guys, if you watch it, it's getting in there. And it can do things. Okay, number 19. If these things are all so serious, where are our leaders? Why don't they warn us? Our leaders can't help us because they are just as much under the influence of the media as we are, and some of them more so. Many of the leaders that we recognize today were set up by, or else promoted by, the media, and we feel that they are ours because we have adopted them for our own. Yet they can hardly be said to belong even to themselves, in that, in a sense, the media has made them, and it can break them, and well they know it. But to speak of other leaders who are not from the media, whether secular or religious, if they are into idolatry, they are stuck in the same quicksand as ourselves, and they are powerless to help us out. That's the end of that page, page 8. I'll put it in back, and here comes page 9. Wait. there's a sentence missing. Let's see if I can remember what it was. They are powerless to help us out. Their messages. The glory is the Lord's, and praise belongs to God. These things will be true past the earth's last day, but do not expect a warning from this source. People who are so part of the media that they're not going to warn you against it. Maybe they aren't. Watch out. I got to remember, there is a bit of a sentence missing at the end of number 19. But I filled it in from my memory. There wasn't much that was missing. Boy, this is just so raw, so not fancy. But it's getting done. I'm getting it said. This is number 20. Well then, where are the true prophets? Someone might ask. It is certain by Revelation chapter 11 that there will be, quote, 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth, end quote. And it says, quote, these have the power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and they have power over waters to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues, as often as they will. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them, and kill them, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. End quote. That's the book of Revelation, chapter 11, verses 1 and 6 through 8. Go see Revelation chapter 11. And after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of life from God will enter into them, and they will stand on their feet and be called up to heaven. It says, I don't quote it here, but it's just about like that. When it said, where are the true prophets? Well, there will be these witnesses. Until they come, we have Isaiah, the books in the Bible, written by Isaiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, John, and others, both in the Old Testament and in the New. Do you know of a place in the Bible where God promises to send prophets of this caliber other than these? So don't really expect that if God was against this, he's going to speak up about it. He has helped me to write this down. It's simply a testimony. I've never heard him in my ears. I don't know as I ever will on earth, but I do hear him in my heart, in my mind. And he's helped me to know how to write this. That's why it's written as well as it is. He raised me up. He helped me study things that were helpful. Okay, I better keep going. Number 21. Someone might say, but what about those people who are really in touch with God? End quote. There are a number of people who have studied the Bible and have matured in their faith to a place where they can expound on things that are marvelous and profound. And there are some who live their lives along adventurous lines, often called by God to do so. And they experience quite regularly the truth of God's promises to protect and to supply, as they live in greater dependence on Him than the average believer. There are also some people who lay claim to great miracles in their lives, and we assume that such miracles indicate great faith or an intimate understanding of God's ways. Yet, as wonderful as these miracles can be, they are more often a testimony to God's mercy and kindness than to the great faith of any one person or group. Besides this, Jesus himself said, "Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name, and in thy name cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works?" And then will I prophesy, will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. So maybe people did seem to do great wonders, but if they don't really know God, if God doesn't really know them, it's not to be trusted. That's found in Matthew chapter 7, verses 22 and 23. If people have idols in their lives and sacrifice to them regularly, is there any way that their idolatry would not affect their relationship with God? Oh, the sun came out bright. Is there any way that their idolatry would not affect their relationship with God? No. For how could God overlook the sin that dishonors and mocks him in order to take such people into his confidence? Near the beginning of Ezekiel chapter 14, it says, Son of man, these men have set up their idols in their heart and put the stumbling block of their iniquity before their face. Should I be inquired of at all by them? End quote. Number 22. Someone might ask, but are there really any idols anymore? And do we put before us what causes us to stumble? End quote. I know that when most of us sit down in our living rooms, we have before us a strange box that is not at all like the rest of the furniture. It doesn't just sit there. It shouts profanity into our living rooms, whispers secrets of sex, and glorifies perversion to our children, and it all but bleeds onto our carpets in its violence. It buddies up to our children and supplies artificial relationships of every variety. Basically speaking, it displays images and sounds so effectively that we respond to them. We laugh and sometimes weep. We heed its teachings and inquire of it. We are shocked or threatened or comforted, aroused, calmed, and regularly offended. But these appearances are not people. They are images, electronic light images. They don't see us. They don't know us. They can't hear us or help us. At least not in any personal sense, because they are not persons. In most instances, there do exist people of whom these pictures are taken, but before the camera rolls, they are trained and groomed and fairly commanded to do everything in their power to project with all their body and soul the image, in their own choice of words, the image that their sponsors want depicted. Those old idols of wood or clay or stone can't hold a candle to these. Number 23. My shoulders are tired, but holding up the phone. Number 23. But nothing is bad in and of itself. It's all in how you use it, right? End quote. God is not concerned with mere things in and of themselves, but he knows what idolatry does to us, that it leads to weakness, wickedness, and deterioration. Jesus said in Matthew chapter 5, quote, If thy right hand offend thee, cut it off and cast it from thee, end quote. He gave us that command so that anything less attached would have no excuse whatsoever for being tolerated. And mass media is not only tolerated, we sacrifice to it our time, our money, our peace of mind, our admiration, our children's minds and affections. I'm not advocating religious fanaticism against images, but we need to see how our attachment to and our dependence on our televisions has hurt us and how it is being used against us ever more effectively. And we need to do something about it now. And guys, as I've said before, somewhere along the line, I've said it here and there, that when I wrote this, TV was the main mover. So you need to know that moving pictures, moving images, it's not just the TV. ask God what to do, where to draw the line, what He'd have you to do. And each one, and it's not absolute for everybody the exact same thing, or at the same time, God knows. And we need to do something about it now, as in don't put it off. When you know you need to do something, follow Him and do it. Number 24, but we already have restrictions on the kind of shows we watch, end quote. But have you noticed how the bad stuff comes on anyway? Whether it's accomplished by a family member when we're in the other room, or by the children while the adults are busy talking, or by the virtue of the innocent, beneficial show that suddenly turns rotten halfway through, or simply by the commercial break. It comes on anyway. There are a million versions of, quote, how the snake got out of the box, end quote. But what are we doing with snake boxes anyway? There's a parallel to this in the Old Testament, where the idols of the people were torn down and destroyed. Quote, but the high places, where the idols had been, were not taken away. The people still sacrificed and burned incense in the high places. End quote. That's 2 Kings chapter 12, verse 3. And so it will be in your home if you make restrictions, but leave the set. Number 25. Quote, but not everything on TV is so bad. Come on, what's the harm? End quote. Some idols merely distract us from God. They lead us away as if to say, come with us for a while and have a good time where there is no God and no need of God. They lie. There's always need of God for very life. They lie. Some idols attack us as if to say, your faith is useless. You don't really know anything for sure. Our way is just as good as yours or better. They lie. Some idols invade and infect with wickedness. Quote, look at this. It's everywhere. It's fun. And you can't stop it, so you might as well join in. End quote. All lies. People... I hope I can keep reading. I think I'll keep trying. People can't see the harm beforehand. They only recognize it after it's matured into wickedness and they've fallen into the grip of destruction. When TV first began, it only distracted. Then it began to attack. Then came the infection, and the destruction began to become evident. We saw a few unfortunates fall. A few people out there, then more and more and more. Still, we let the snake live because we thought it was only the venom that was dangerous. In this regard, we felt safe enough in that TV obviously had plenty of weak and uneducated people to munch on, without turning on those of us who are above all that, and who merely dabble in delusion for the sake of whatever gain there is to be had, or for the sake of keeping in step with society, etc. But this is a different kind of snake, the kind that has many heads, deadly venom, and a coiled grip like you can't believe. It was a poor choice to let it live. Poorer still to let it live with us. For as we shall see, if the venom doesn't get ya, the hug surely will. And to think, we made it ourselves. That's the end of that page. Page 10, I'll put that in back. Here's page 11. Number 26. But my family and I aren't involved in any terrible wickedness, someone might say. Now has come the time when even the ones who've managed to steer clear of the gross effects of the deception will have to deal with the creature itself, captivity. God was our friend. He gave us commandments to steer us away from destruction, but we thought we knew well enough what was best for us. Commands like, if it offends you, cut it off and cast it from you. but we let our television stay, even though they offended us. Number 27. But there are other questions that need answers, like, what about the good religious programming? And when I sat there at the computer, I knew people would ask that question, so I wrote it down. And I said, Lord, what would be the answer to that? And what he helped me understand was this: there is enough light in even the darkest place to convict of sin. And that's all I wrote, just that one short sentence, in answer of, but what about the good religious programming? There is enough light in even the darkest place to convict of sin. Number 28. But there are a few really good shows on TV, end quote. This one likewise. Even the worst liars occasionally tell the truth, but it's not just the truth that you're getting, and you know it. Number 29. But I've always thought that TV can't be all bad when it displays God's wondrous creation. And I know they mean well, end quote. I know they mean well. The idols of old were images of God's created things, and overlaid with the gold and silver of God's creation. God was not impressed. An idol is not just offensive to God in its ugliness, but in its attractiveness as well. That's what he had me explain there. What he explained to me, and I explained. Number 30. Quote, but I need my TV to keep up with the issues, end quote. All programming, including news programming, is geared to addicting you. We have become psychologically dependent on news programming because the programmers know how to pull our strings. We fear things we don't understand. Therefore, we have a strong compulsion to gather facts and learn as much as we can about the things we fear, until we feel we have something of a grip on the situation. This gives us a sense of control over those things. The programmers know this, so they know that news programs must concentrate on encouraging your fears and on feeding you information about them to keep you watching. They must always end with an air of confidence in the midst of concern. What they don't tell you is that, in reality, they only provide you with a limited selection of information, set from a perspective that suits their purposes. And who is going to challenge or research what they say? Even the newscasters, whom we trust for their honest, intelligent faces, only read off the news as they are directed. They don't research what they are handed. They only know that the delivery must be convincing and compelling, or they won't have their jobs long. Number 31. But still, doesn't a person need to know what's going on in the world? End quote. You know that idols are offensive to God. What do you suppose he thinks about oracles and people who consult them? See, in history, long hundreds and thousands of years ago, there's a bug on my lap. I don't know as I got him. I mustn't however many bugs I get, I better just get bug bites if it must be to get this thing red. Sorry, thank you. An oracle was a place where people would go to find out what would God say to their question, how God would answer them. You know that idols are offensive to God. What do you suppose he thinks about oracles and people who consult them? The most valuable asset in all the world is a relationship with God and the ability to hear him. God will not be mocked. If you choose to listen to God and obey him, then he will instruct you. But if you trust in idols, you will not hear him. He is a jealous God, But he is not selfish. Why does he want us to depend on him? Because he knows, even better than we do, how much we need him. God also knows oracles lie. Past that, they also gobble up our time just to occupy our minds, make our guts churn, and give us something to talk about. We never do anything about what we hear. We only stay awake nights thinking up what might be done. If only we had time. If only we knew how. If only it would actually help. If only. But God is different. He informs us of what can be done and gives us instruction as to how to do it. And he helps us all along the way as we pray and ask him what to do. And he sends other people to help us. And he provides for our needs, but only as we are dedicated to him. To him. Number 32. What then? Do you think that this paper will start a great revival? End quote. No, I don't suppose that I do. But I do suppose that there are some people who will recognize idolatry as the explanation for many things they have already noticed for themselves. And at that point, this paper may help to cut through the delusion more directly. But after captivity hits, there'll probably be some sort of regime. They may destroy even this country, the big cities, or some of them. But there's likely to be. There is a great tribulation. I don't know if it will be in our lifetime. But through history, there have been times when some regime, some dictator, some head guy takes over and bad stuff. I don't know. I better keep going. Because you who know history, you can figure it. But after captivity hits, many people will be wondering what's going on, how it happened, and why. And then this paper may begin to make sense to them too. Basically speaking, those who are the most comfortable will be the least likely to believe. But I remember what it was like for us in trying to decide whether or not to stick by our TV. And I feel for those who still must choose. For who in the world wants to believe that someone or something they've trusted could possibly be betraying them? And who could stand to easily accept the news that their loved ones are about to be engulfed in the greatest captivity that the world has ever seen? It really could be. People will need time to think this thing through and to pray and seek God's answer on the subject for themselves. But woe to the one who would alter this message in order to lead others astray. For, quote, he who leads into captivity shall go into captivity. End quote. That's Revelation chapter 13, verse 10. Number 33. My throat. Number 33. If you can understand my words, even if it sounds funny or gravelly or something, I'm still going to do it because it needs to be done. And it's getting close to the end. I'm only a page away from the end. Oh, yay, it's getting done. You see, because what I was reading up there, but God is different. He informs us of what can be done and gives us instruction as to how to do it. He helped me to write this document called Writing to Testify. That's what I've named it, Writing to Testify. For me to tell what God helped my husband and I, our family, others too, but mostly us and me sitting there. Lord, My husband was so busy with so many things. We were missionaries, and he had so many things to do. It wasn't like as if he was constantly there to ask questions of, but God was. And all through my life, I've been asking him questions, and the Lord has helped Timothy, my husband, through the things he needs to do. But this was what I could do. He informs us of what can be done and gives us instruction as to how to do it. I'm speaking from experience. And he helps us all along the way as we pray and ask him what to do. And he sends other people to help us. And he provides for our needs, but only as we are dedicated to him. And he had us get rid of our TV. And that's when we started to realize what it had been doing to us, keeping us away from God, keeping us too busy to talk to each other and sort out our lives before the Lord. And then when we got rid of it, then we had time with God, with each other, with the kids. And they were just little. And more came on. The Lord gave us more children. And then we went to Romania. And the Lord gave us 2 more while we were overseas. And then we came back to the States 6 years later. And we had 2 more little ones. And they are big ones now. The youngest is 22. So the point is, the Lord hasn't enabled me, explained, or given the money to, what's that word again? I think it starts with a P, doesn't it? Produce, project. And there, boom, boom, boom. That was the back of a dump truck. When they dump out the gravel and put the dump truck bed down, and the back end, it goes bang, bang. And sometimes they'll bang it standing upright so that the rest of the gravel falls out that's stuck in the corners. So this is really just a winging it here, guys. But I'm glad. At this point, I'm glad that you can see I'm just a person, just who I am. But as I've said here, and he provides for our needs. He got me this phone and gave me the courage to up and read the things that he's helped me to write. But I didn't get this document, this part done until today. And I'm thinking to stop using the telephone. It boggles my brain. It takes time. I want to reach out, but it scares me. If I just leave these things on YouTube, people can hear good things. And I believe that the Lord wanted me to put them on here. He initially, to begin with, through the years, he helped me to write them down. And in the past year and a half, he's helped me to get them videoed, recorded, read onto, like I'm doing now. But I could use the peace and quiet. There is a verse, I think it's in Jeremiah, that says, "Ask for the old paths, wherein is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls." Good advice. Okay, so where am I? People will need time. For who in the world wants to believe that someone or something they've trusted could possibly be betraying them? And who could stand to easily accept the news that their loved ones are about to be engulfed in the greatest captivity? It's at very least the greatest, a huge captivity. It may be the Great Tribulation. God knows. Only God knows. That the world has ever seen. People will need time to think this thing through and to pray and seek God's answer on the subject for themselves. And it's not like as if it takes years or decades, or it might take hours, it might take minutes. But you need to think it through and talk to God about it. But woe to the one who would alter this message in order to lead others astray. For he who leads into captivity shall go into captivity. That's in Revelation chapter 13, verse 10. Number 33. Where can I learn more? End quote. The Bible is where to get understanding. Find a Bible and get a concordance of the Bible if you can. It's like an index of words or phrases. A huge index. It's a whole huge thick book. But you can look up a word if you remember that there, or what does the Bible say about captivity? And it will show you where you can find that word in the Bible. Or grace or peace. Such things. It's like an index of words or phrases. It's called a concordance. And is useful in studying the Bible for yourself. Ask God for wisdom and help in understanding things that He wants you to understand. He's sure to help you know what you need to know. Number 34. Because guys, He knows what history is like. I wonder if a whole lot of technology isn't what they had before the flood came. And they were building up to probably destroy the human race. And God said, enough of this. And Noah, build an ark. Build a boat. And he did. And take on the animals. And he finished. God let there be rains. And he finished up that society. The whole world full. But then he started over and let people learn things little by little. I just wonder. I don't know that for sure, but it's a possibility. But for sure, being God, He knows where we're at and what we're doing. As far as God's sure to help you know what you need to know. Okay, number 34. Someone might say, so then, should we denounce our Christian brothers and sisters if they continue to watch TV? End quote. No, because it is not our place. It is, however, our place to denounce evil as evil. Number 35. But we have to warn people. We have to blow the trumpet, like it says in Ezekiel. Someone might say that. Quite right. But we must also remember that when it's time to blow the trumpet to warn a country of approaching disaster, it is not appropriate to run and blow that trumpet out of love in our best friend's ear. No, we must climb the city wall and blow that trumpet so that all within earshot may hear a clear and even note. With individuals, we need to have grace and patience, knowing that we also were wrong in allowing sin to enter our homes and in allowing ourselves to be deceived. With love and prayer, we must explain things to them as best we can with God's guidance. Yet our own changed lives will be the clearest testimony that we can give them. Beyond that, we trust them to God. So you see, because my husband and I, we had a TV, and you just try to get the good stuff and keep the bad stuff off, and it comes on anyway. I remember one time sitting down watching something with the kids that was made for kids, and the commercial came on for another kid thing that was all about monsters, and both of my kids jumped into my lap like, and oh boy, you watch something that just seems pleasant and it comes on, the bad stuff comes on anyway. And it's not just that kind either. But okay, I better keep going. Number 36. Who then is behind all this? Someone might ask. There are groups that are documented as being responsible for the focus and integration of these systems. Yet, interestingly, we haven't seen any one person or figurehead in control overall. No glorious leader for us to scrutinize. Perhaps if there was one, some people would organize a resistance. Yet there needs to be a resistance, even now, at least within the hearts of individuals. And that's the end of that page. Now, there's only just a quarter of a page left Here goes. It's difficult to resist a faceless system. Yet recognizing a threat, when it's something that's grown up in your own home and has gained the trust and approval of all, this is by far the more difficult thing, because it will mean cutting loose something that has twisted itself into the very heart of us and is anchored in every part of our flesh. By flesh, that's a biblical term, meaning the earthly part of us that is used to doing things just by appetite, by, ooh, that's not, ooh, and not the spiritual part that says, wait a minute, Lord, what should we do? But our flesh is just, and we got to learn not to just follow our fleshly appetites. So that's how come I use that word. I'm going to start that one. It's difficult to resist a faceless system, because the TV, it's got so many faces, but no one person is in control over all. Yet recognizing a threat, when it's something that's grown up in your own home and has gained the trust and approval of all, this is by far the more difficult thing, because it will mean cutting loose something that has twisted itself into the very heart of us and is anchored in every part of our flesh. By our own strength, it will surely be impossible. But with God, it's possible. Furthermore, it's necessary, and it's worth it. Here's the last number. Felt like a mosquito. Here's the last point. Number 37. Quote, tribulation, captivity, what will it be like? End quote. To put it briefly, it will be a time for heroes. Mostly quiet, unknown heroes. Mass media, on the whole, teaches panic and despair. But history teaches us of past generations who faced similar circumstances, and of the wonders that God worked and the miracles He performed as He built strength and courage, endurance and faith into those who heeded, that's listened to, who heeded and obeyed. As He built strength and courage, endurance and faith into those who heeded and trusted in Him. It will be a time for heroes. It will be a time for God. That's where I leave it. Here, can I show you? It will be a time. Oh, the light from the other side. I'm going to turn it around. This is about the end of it. There. Okay. And the birdies are still singing, and I hope you were able to hear all of that. This is that same place I was yesterday. So this has been, if I can find the start of it again, this has been recognizing a threat. All these pages. Here's the start of it. I have to put the pages together on my lap for you to see. Recognizing a threat. Okay, I guess that's it. I suddenly see it's almost 1 hour. That's wonderful. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. He guides us in many ways, and it's wonderful. And you ought to see how many wonderful things He's done. I'd like to say more about it someday, but I don't know if I can. May God help you. Turn to God. He helps. He made us. He wants us to have our own choice and turn to Him. Bye-bye.